spaces in between two minds and all the places they have been. The spaces in between. I try to put my finger on it. I try to put my finger on it.
Alright, good morning everyone, hope we're doing well. Just waiting a couple of minutes for Mayank to jump on. Until then, let's just take a quick look at where we are from a context perspective. So on the front page there, we've got the 5-day range. We're kind of approaching the bottom third of that prior day range. Obviously, we're still within the prior days range, but in the bottom quarter, and we've just, with that PPI print, we've just blown out the bottom of the overnight range. So fairly decent context here for some failed breakdowns. That's why I'm calling him for a sec. Get him in. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Huh? Yeah, I got you.
Cool. I was just running through kind of the lay of the land real quick, waiting for you to come in. So yeah, I was just saying from a context perspective, we're in reasonably fertile ground here, especially if we can push down towards the prior day's low. I think that's the main area of interest on watch today. We are in a little bit of no man's land here, I would say, in the immediate vicinity. But let's just quickly touch on what happened with the PPI print, and I think that really demonstrated the importance of being patient there at the 67-64 level, because it looked like it was setting up quite nicely. I'm going to have to drop down the time frames to be able to see it, but it looked like it was setting up quite nicely here at 67-64. We put in about a 10-point flush. We're just in the process of recovering, but as we know, we need to wait for sellers to show their hand. They defended exactly where they had to, right at 67-64, and we sold on down through the flush low to the next level. So a perfect example of why you never rush in there. Okay, so with that, let's get into the plan for today. Mike, what's the first levels that you're watching here?
Yeah, so obviously the first one initially was 67, 64. But we have now nicely back tested there and liquidated off of there. So, that no longer is ideal at this point. It'd be an over 40 something point stop. However, if we do get back up there, what you want to watch out for after it'd be that deep of a sweep would be another back test and potentially a higher low that would form to go ahead and take the trade with a much more reasonable stop. So, that could be something to watch on the upside. No interest for me in any of the reclaim levels and areas around here. So 67.16 failed breakdown would be the next thing I'm watching. And then below there, 67.02 failed breakdown. So those are kind of the three potential things I'm going to be keeping an eye on. If we can make it down to 67.16, that'd be great. It may be a little tough. I mean, just based off RSIs, Adam did note, and I have taken a look. They are quite buried already, so we'll see if we can make it down there. Obviously, today we have FOMC at 2 p.m. So, hopefully there's something available before then. But if you have to wait until then just size down during the meeting as always. Definitely don't want to be running a ton of risk into the event, so, or even around the event. So yeah, we'll see what we get. Hopefully something in the next couple hours before then, but if not, then we'll be at the mercy of however the headlines go one way or another with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do have the 67.49 level above. This would really be a level reclaim, and I think you've said it many times before. It's very rare for an elevated down sell to end with a level reclaim. So personally, that's not something I'll be engaging in. Um, but yeah, it is part of the trade plan. Although I think the trade plan was really for it to defend 49 and then recover 64, which obviously we've lost it at this point, and we're just bouncing at 35 here. So yeah, I mean, it could be with FOMC in a few hours that we just end up going sideways until then. We may get a little spurt come 9:30 in 10 minutes here, but then it might go pretty flat after that. Kind of like this afternoon action from yesterday. But if we do lift from here, get back up to 64, with it being such a deep flush, you definitely want to see another attempt by sellers to defend that, and maybe lift above there. We could form some decent acceptance there with the size of this flush. What are we, 40 points ish on that flush there. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a good way to probably think about it or look at it is you're gonna be looking for some sort of, like, you should be able to see some sort of higher low form. If you're not able to see that and you're still like, my stop is gonna be 45 points wide, you're probably entering a little too early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what market open brings. Those are the key levels: 64 above, and then 16 and 03 below. Let's just real quick zoom out. We did get quite a wide trade plan today. Sometimes it's sort of 80 points wide. I think this one would have more than like 200. The spread in the levels was like 200 points or something like that. So beneath that, there's the 66.58 and then 66.35, which is the prior week's low. So 58 is obviously the Sunday small gap down and push. So those are some major lows beneath us. Pretty decent structure below, clear lows to work with. Little bit of no man's land here, and then the 64 above. So yeah. With that, I think that's pretty clear. Just checking the chat here. Anything else you want to close out with, Mayank?
Just again, just reminder, it is FOMC day, so it could be a trickier day for trading, just in terms of, yesterday I know ended up being quite a bit of a mess. If you didn't catch that wake up and bid, there was really nothing to do. The afternoon was pretty much a chop filled mess. So if we don't get something here relatively soon off the open, you could expect something similarly until the meeting. So, if that's the case, just be aware, size down where you need to, make sure you're properly allocating risk. And yeah, we'll see what we get, and then hopefully, it sets us up for some better trading for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that was a wake and bid that I missed yesterday. Kind of right in this area here. I did a quick write up of that in the channel. For me, I didn't do a great job of reading kind of this price action and what it was telling me that sellers couldn't push us below. I've since removed the level, but what was it? Was it 39 or was it 40 from yesterday? We couldn't get back below that. We had the active fail breakdown at 35 here, and so that was a valid kind of wake and bid entry. Of course, it ran very nicely after that. Okay, all right, guys. With that, we'll see you in the Discord. Don't force anything if it's just going to chop here. Let's wait for that volatility, and we might be waiting till 2 o'clock. Alrighty, catch you later. Bye for now. Alright, that's that.